Hey everybody, what's up? It's Tipping the Scales. I'm Shea Dawson.
I'm Tania Rivers. How you doing?
What's up, my good people?
Welcome back to the best place on earth.
Tipping the Scales.
And it's not Disney. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. Shay and T.
What? Doing anything fun this weekend, Shay?
TBT, the basketball tournament. Your girl is a first-time GM
What?
of a team. It's so exciting.
So proud of you. Can I just pause just because you weren't here and I gave you such a shout out when you were like out being super busy that you are. I was just saying how much I appreciate you, but can I just take a moment to say how proud I am of you? Because for you to be a GM, this is something you've dreamed of. This is something that you should have been doing years ago when I was like, Shay, you should be doing. Okay. Right. So the fact that you are now doing it and being a GM of a team, I just gotta.
Thank you, T.
I gotta give you I gotta
do my fifth grade basketball girl. You know, when they shoot and make it, they clap for themselves. It's so funny. I love watching.
I'm so proud of you. So
thank you so much.
Keep doing big things, Mama.
Thank you.
Your big sister is extremely proud.
Thank you. Ditto. I do brag about you a lot. So yes, I'm doing that. We start training camp on July 5th.
Okay.
So I'll have pros in the building, a structured team, and it's going to be all great. Yeah. It's going to be great.
Do you do anything? Have you had any traditions where you do anything fun for like 4th of July? Is something that's celebrated in your family or what?
No.
Okay.
And I've explained this before, but basketball players don't technically have that many traditions.
Or holidays, really, because you're always on the road.
And everything is exciting when you work in sports or you're in sports, right? Like game days are exciting. Like you're always doing something. It's not like your life is mundane and then one day you celebrate holidays. Like every day is a holiday when you're a sports enthusiast, a sports person. So
for sure.
Yeah.
I had every 4th of July growing up, we used to go to the fireworks. So that's just something I remember. I love fireworks. And now I loved fireworks. And now I'm like a cranky old woman. I'm like, oh, it's so noisy. I just like relax.
I actually used to do fireworks back in the country in Missouri when I went every summer. But I stopped that when I was like 13. But I did love doing that as well. That was really, really good.
Fireworks, they're beautiful though, right? They can be if done right. Sometimes I'm looking at them like, this is much different than what it was before. I don't know what type of low budget fireworks this is, but I'm at the shore. So I love being at the shore. Shout out to my friend.
You got to describe what the shore is because some people in Cali, they don't know what the shore is. So you got to, what is the shore?
Shore what? That's right.
What is the shore?
So the Jersey Shore.
Ooh,
I'm at Avalon. My girlfriend Lisa. So shout out to my girlfriend Lisa.
Shout out to Lisa
for inviting me down and opened up her place for me to stay. And my boys down here too. So Mikkel rented a house here with some friends.
Did he bring the dog? He brought Sonny, huh?
He did not bring Sonny. Sonny's with his. So Sonny has a sitter who he loves. It's like his place where he loves to be. He gets to play with other dogs. So Sonny's there.
Hilarious.
And I got to spend some time with Mikkel today. So it's awesome just to get
Shout
to see
out to
him.
you, son.
Yeah. What's up, boy?
Yeah.
So it's exciting, but it's just nice to get out and I'm nice and like, can you see I got like tan that quick? I like went on the beach and I'm like all bronzed.
You're always like bronze and gold and beautiful to me. I don't know. I can't really tell now. I mean, you radiate.
I heart you.
I heart you too.
So listen, today I want us to really talk about an important topic that's often forgotten. So today we want to focus on like how often are you checking in with your loved ones?
Yeah.
Especially if you have older loved ones or elderly loved ones in your life. Are you doing your job? Are you going to see them? Are you calling them? Are you being very purposeful about spending time with them? So I like us to really focus on that today because we get so busy and so caught up in our day to day that sometimes we put our loved ones on a back burner, and that's not something that we should do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, before we start, wanted to shout out my friend, one of my good friends from childhood.
Okay.
I just love him so much. It's his birthday.
Oh.
Shout out Daryl Yarbrough, aka Colin. So Happy birthday. And talking about check-in.
Happy birthday.
So I sent him a little check-in message today because I just appreciate him. And he is an avid listener of Tipping the Scales.
Awesome.
So,
we appreciate you.
Yes.
And enjoy your special day.
Exactly. But checking in.
Yeah.
I think where I'm at with that is I haven't been great. I haven't been great at checking in.
And when you say you haven't been great at checking in, are you, because I feel like you're such a good friend and you always check in. Are you saying you're not good at, you haven't been great? Is it with your family? Is it your friends? Like when you say you haven't been great with whom?
I have kind of had my head down and I'm trying to get out of the mud, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm playing catch up, but I'm not getting out enough ahead of everything that I need to get out ahead of, I guess. And that is stifling me from checking in. So I'm being transparent right now.
Okay.
I check in with my immediate people, meaning like people that are in my everyday space, meaning like if they have something to do with my work or my job. Obviously, if you're in my household, obviously my mom, my brother, my niece. But I need to go outside of that. I mean, and Instagram is a way, I think, also to check in. That's how I really keep up with everybody.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to find time, which is sad because I'm literally busy. So like from the time I wake up to the time I lay my head down, and sometimes I don't go to bed till 2 if I'm working on a project, but I need to do better. And the fact that we're having this talk, sometimes that's the case. It just needs to be brought to the forefront. You are my accountability partner on the show as well. But it's super important to check in, right?
I agree. Yeah.
And I kind of had a little bit of resentment too, because not a lot of people check in on me because I'm always the check-in person. So I've been reluctant to check in. I don't know what that is. So I'm just sharing that.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes like we talk about how we pour so much into other people. Like, and sometimes we need folks to pour into us. So if you, for instance, is the person that's checking in, like who's checking in on you? Like you just need a certain level of attention, a certain level of love and appreciation. And I think sometimes when you're that person who's giving out it all the time, that I don't think it's purposeful. I think sometimes people just, there's an expectation that, hey, Shea's going to do that because this is what Shea does.
Yeah.
And you're like, hold on, folks. Shea needs a check-in too. Like Shea needs a little love shown her way as well. And I love how you and I always, it's just like that. We have that sister brain because when you were saying, I don't always do well and I got to do better, I was at the same time thinking like, wow, Tania, if you gave yourself a grade, it would not be great right now.
Yeah.
So I really feel like I have to do a better job as well of checking in. In fact, my mom called me out. She said, I need to see you more. And I'm trying to make
more present.
And come visit her more. Yeah. So I just get so caught up in my job and my work that I oftentimes just don't check in enough. So it's something that I have to do. And I'm making a commitment to at least spend time with my mother, going to visit her every other week when I can, or at least twice a month. Like I have to be able to do that. She's not too far from me, but of course I'm spending time in New York and I've been on the road a ton. Every week I feel like I'm somewhere else.
Yeah.
But we have to check in on people that we love. And I was just telling someone the other day how they have an elderly parent and spouse passed away and is alone. I'm like, you got to do a better job. You got to check in on your parent. Like you can't just go about your day and have your parent living alone without their significant other. Like people need to know that you love them, but also just don't know. Life is so short and we have to do our job with checking in can look very much different for everyone. How you choose to check in is your choice. But I think how it looks like for me is a phone call, a visit to someone's house, a text message, an email, whatever your preferred way of communication. That's, you do what you do that's important to you, but you have to get it done. And I think sometimes we got to slow down and show up for the folks that we love, for sure.
I like that. And I just wrote that down. So as a reminder too, I think what I'm also going to do following our pod today is post on Instagram. Hey y'all, checking in. What's going on?
I love that.
You know what I mean? So maybe I can find ways that are natural to my natural, what do you call it? Habits. If I'm on social media, maybe I can check in that way too, because people keep up with me that way too. So maybe I'll do a check in that way. Actually need to call a few friends back. I need to text a few friends back. But there's just so much stimulation. I feel like I'm always overstimulated too. So that affects my check-ins, to be honest.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right? Like I am getting text messages. I'm getting messages on Instagram. I have messages on LinkedIn. I don't use Facebook anymore. Only when I'm told to go on there. When like, oh, your cousin's wedding thing's on there. So I go on there. Right? Like, there's just so many ways for people to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
Email. And, you know, it's like I'm constantly checking in on my teammates at work and stuff like that. That my family does get left on the back burner because it's like that is immediate, right? So I'm just thinking about how I can execute that and ways I can do it in my natural progression of the day. And maybe that's through Instagram and posting just like, you know, checking in on you guys. Like I have, 15 minutes, what's going on, anybody? You know what I mean? Like maybe I can do something like that. And even maybe on our Tipping the Scales podcast Instagram, we can do a better job of checking in on our followers and seeing what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
So maybe there's a double whammy there.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that can be helpful is, I don't know about you, I'm like notorious. I live by my calendar. My calendar kind of dictates everything that I'm going to do.
Yep.
Is schedule time. Like, again, like be very purposeful, right?
Yeah.
So put time on your calendar to check in on people.
Yeah.
So if you know that you need to call your parent, need to call a sibling, call a friend, block out time on your calendar to do it. Because if you try to do it, if you're like super busy like us, and you just wait for time to do it, then you may never get that time to do it. You may just be so caught up in your day to day, like we always are. So be purposeful about it. Like put it on your schedule. Like put on a Tuesday at 7:00, call mom. Put on a Saturday at 3:00, make it, I'm going to go visit my brother. Like whatever it is.
And learn people's love languages. Yeah. Some people are phone people. Some people are texting. Some people are FaceTime only, right? So what are their love languages?
What do you think I am? Because what do you think I don't love?
You don't love texting. You love phone calls.
I do.
And you don't love FaceTime, but I'm sure you probably FaceTime people don't mind.
I am old school. Like, so Shea knows I'm so happy that you brought that up because everyone's love language is important. Mm-hmm. And if you text me, I'm like, okay. Like
I'll get to it when I get to it.
I appreciate it, but it's just not my preferred style.
Yeah.
Like I like for someone to pick up the phone and be like, hey, Tania, and have a real conversation with me.
Yeah.
I'm not huge on texting. I think people just get so comfortable with texting, but I love for someone to pick up the phone and give me a little shout out, send me a little love that way.
Yeah, when I text you, it's definitely like an email. Like I'm definitely texting it, right?
I know.
And I'm forgetting about it. I put it down and then if you respond, because I know even if I respond back right away, you're doing something else. So it's like an email.
Shea sends me these long ass emails. I'm like, I have a text message. I'm like,
AKA text.
I'm already calling them emails because that's what they look like, but they're actually text messages.
Because I can communicate everything I need to communicate to you passively without it being immediate, but everything that's in my head. So, and I feel like you're not tech savvy enough for me to leave a voice note. So I don't.
Damn. Wow, that hurt my little soul, Shea, okay?
Hey, I'm just being real.
But you're right. Don't do that. Those things get on my nerves. Just pick up the phone and call me, okay?
But I love a good voice note. So,
well, I'll tell you something. So what made me think about this is a friend of mine had told me that they had went to visit a parent. And when they went to the parent's house, the parent was dead.
What?
Yeah. And I think they found the person and it was days.
Damn.
Right? So that legit freaked me out.
That freaks me out right now.
I mean, it made me feel just, I don't know, it just gives me chills just thinking about it. That this person's loved one had passed.
Went days without getting checked on.
And days that someone did not pick up the phone or noticed that there was something off or just noticed something.
That makes me feel guilty.
That's why that just makes me. But when I heard that story, Shea, that's why I was like, wow, we have to do a better job with checking in with people and not being
our community,
right, and just not forgetting about people in our lives, that our lives are just going on, that we don't even realize that, hey, something's off. Like no one knew that this person, this loved one, this person's family member had died in that house.
Yeah.
And it's for days.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when I hear stories like that, it's hard.
Yeah. I mean, I actually had a family member pass away like that too. I would say this year. And it was definitely hard for our family. So when you said that, it resonated with me. One, meaning I had a family member that happened to. And two, I could be the person that did not check on someone. Mm. So that I feel a little bit of guilt for that too. Like, dang, like, but I'm glad we're talking about this because it's going to be at the forefront of my mind.
Yeah.
Now, you know what I mean? Like you're not letting that thought pass. Because, when you think of something good sometimes, like a good idea or a good thought, you're like, and you bypass it. But we're actually minting this right now in everyone's mind because it will be in a recording. And it'll trigger somebody to say, in a good way, to say, oh, you know what? I've been meaning to call my grandfather. I've been meaning to call my grandmother.
When was the last time you spoke to your grandparents?
Yeah. And I'm actually,
too.
I'm actually not speaking to one of my grandparents right now. And I've been grappling with it.
Oh,
and I'm having a transparent moment. I wasn't going to share this, but when you feel like you can't communicate with a person, like, you call somebody and you feel like it's not going to be a two-way conversation. So you feel like, do I want to get in that mind state? And my grandfather is a very strong-minded, strong-willed person, right? Like he doesn't like someone to kind of dictate to him or talk, like you can't go against him. You know what I mean? So we kind of had a little situation where we went against each other. And that was like the first time that happened. I've never had that happen before. And so I don't know, it made me feel weird. It made me feel, I don't know. And I just need to like get over that. And I just need to call him. And I think I'm just saying that because it's been on my mind.
Yeah.
Because I know I would feel a certain type of way if something happened to him.
It's weighing heavy on you
so I'm calling myself out right now. And it is weighing heavy on me. It has weighed heavy on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think, one, thank you for your vulnerability, Shea. I appreciate your transparency. Thanks. And when you call yourself out, it's taking the step in the right direction. So thank you for just being honest. And let me say this, especially for folks, all our tippers that are listening in today, is life is too short for us not to be able to move past a disagreement, not to be able to forgive someone who has hurt us. These are people in our lives who love us. And there's going to be times when we disagree with them, that we don't see eye to eye, or when they hurt our feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to, even when it's hard, even when it's tough, be the bigger person and let go.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things my mom used to say is let go and let God. Mm-hmm. But we have to let go and be willing to forgive that person that hurt us.
Mm.
We can't let time and space get in the way of our relationships with people that love us. So let's make the decision right now, today, in this moment, to forgive someone in our family that has hurt us. And let's take the step in the right direction to rebuild and repair that relationship. Super important.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you going to What's the next step with your
anxiety thinking about it.
Yeah.
I am going to figure out a good time to call. Like, I'm not afraid to call. I'm afraid of the time that has passed.
How long has it been? You don't mind me asking.
Maybe like 8 months.
Okay. All right.
And it's just like, is he going to respond in a way that triggers me or going to be mad? You know, and I just feel like sometimes it's hard to get my point across. You know what I mean?
It is.
So,
but it's even harder if you don't try.
Yeah.
Because guess what happens? 8 months will turn into 12 months. 12 months will turn into 18 months. 18 months will now turn into 2 years. And how do we know that people have 2 years? You know, like we just don't know. And we have to take the first step. And even if the first conversation doesn't go great or go according to the way we plan it to go, it's worth taking the time to just try to extend the olive branch.
Yeah.
And that can just be picking up the phone. And even if that person doesn't answer, leave a message and say, hey, I was thinking about you. I was thinking about the time that has crept up and our relationship has gotten in the way. And I just want you to know that I miss you and I love you. And sometimes it starts there. You know, I think oftentimes we want to go back and we want to figure out, talk about like what has happened, who was right, who was wrong, you know, point the finger. And it's not about that. I think sometimes it's about just telling that person that you love them and you want to do whatever it takes to move forward. And I think that's a good place to start because we have to fix those broken relationships in our lives. Life isn't promised to us. Tomorrow isn't even a promise to us. And it's that time where we have to fix those pieces that are broken. So important.
Take it away, T. I mean, you're saying everything that resonates with me, that fills my heart. And I need to do it.
I think sometimes when you're in it, Shea, is that it's hard to see it, right? Because this is you, this is your raw emotion. This is something that is impacting you because you wouldn't be this way if you didn't care. The reason why you're sitting here right now and these feelings have crept up because this is hurtful to you. And
it's not like me. So that's the part. I'm discovering that, I don't know, maybe it's, I don't know, like as the older I get, sometimes I think I am changing. Like before it would be easier, but now I'm kind of like drawing boundaries. And I don't know if boundaries, you know, when you're experimenting with boundaries, like, am I being too hard on this boundary? Like, I'm just feeling like I'm not going to accept a certain type of like interaction or a certain type of like, you're not going to talk to me any kind of way. You're not going to say whatever you want to say. Like, without me saying, like, you know, and like I've said my piece. We've said things. We're fine. But it's like, do I want to have a call and it go there again and then again? And I think that's what I'm struggling with. And I also had that with another friend too, that I had to draw the line to say like, I'm not putting up with that. And I think that's where that's where I know my growth is coming, but now I need to figure out how to deal with that. Like, is it a conversation where I do share my feelings? And how do I do that? And how will it be received? Or am I okay with not talking to that person? And I don't want to be okay with not talking to that person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think another thing too is sometimes when you have things that you have to get off your chest or something that you need to address, and maybe you tried and the person didn't listen. Mm-hmm. And I love writing a person a letter.
Yeah.
I know I'm old school, folks, but I do think it's helpful because sometimes when you're having these very important conversations, if both parties aren't willing to actively listen to each other, then you're going to go in circles. And sometimes it's just helpful to just, whatever it is in your head or whatever it is in your heart, mm-hmm. write it out. Talk about what is impacting you. Talk about what's hurting you and put it on paper and send it to that person and give that person some time to digest it. And then hopefully that person picks up the phone or makes some type of, reaches out in some type of way to know that this is something that's important to you. And if not, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you just need to express what you're feeling.
Yeah.
And be able to get that out.
Yeah. And I think that's what I'm kind of afraid of, is to express how I feel in fear of what might happen or what might be said. But I also think too, it's not even about that person. It's about myself and who I'm becoming.
Sure.
And I think that's where I'm coming from, is like, I'm growing because of some things that I've been through this past 2 years in my life. Obviously, COVID has a lot to do with it. It's self-reflection, deep work. This podcast is like, I only want to be surrounded by positive energy and things that fill me up. So if I'm triggered where I'm going outside of myself and I'm doing things that I don't recognize, I'm starting to close off that part of myself and the access to myself. And I think that's where I'm at. And I love my grandfather, and I know he loves me. And I think the time that we are not speaking, I'm not mad. I'm just afraid. And I need to get some courage to share it with him. And I need to do that. And I'm going to do that. And I'm going to share in a loving way, of course. Like, I'm not mad.
Yeah, of course. And you're very respectful. So it's not, and nothing that you do is going to come off
older people are just set in their ways.
Oh, yeah.
So it's almost like I am trying to battle against, I know older people are set in their ways, but that's still not a reason to treat me or say what you said or say how you said it to me. Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's not about him. It's more about me and what I'm trying to communicate. But I don't think I'm doing a good job with that. And I need to figure that out. But that's kind of the transparent part of like the turmoil inside of me.
Yeah. And listen, I think it's important to say this, right? Is it doesn't necessarily mean that in order to keep someone in your life or to keep a relationship going, that you have to put up with disrespect or you have to put up with not being treated the way that you deserve. And I think sometimes we skip over that, or we glance over that because we want to keep the relationship going.
Right.
And that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that let's be creative, or let's find a way to repair and to fix what's broken so that we don't have these type of tension in our families.
Yeah.
Because we need each other.
Yep.
And we love each other. I mean, everything starts with love. And I would say, if you're having a hard time resolving conflict within your families or within someone that's important, someone in your circle, or just someone who's close to you, that try involving a third party, whether it be a life coach or a therapist, some neutral party.
Member.
Someone that can be that intermediate, that person that can help try to resolve whatever that issue is, to bring that union back together.
Yeah.
So don't try, if you're hitting a wall, if you've tried several times to mend a relationship and it's not working between the two of you, then bring in someone else that can help you try to fix it. Whatever it is, just don't let time create distance in your lives. And that's why we wanted to do this episode today, because we have to be mindful about being intentional to follow up with those who need to hear from us. And it's something that we have to do. It's something that we have to prioritize in our lives. We prioritize so many different things, from getting our hair done, from doing a project at work, from every small detail in our life. We make sure that the things that are important to us, we get done. This is one of those things that you have to add to the list. No exceptions.
Thank you, T. I love you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I love you. And I'm hopeful that this issue with your grandfather will get resolved, and I'm going to pray about it.
Thank you.
Well, listen, guys, we thank you for joining us today. I know this topic is heavy, but necessary. And we just ask you to continue to follow Tipping the Scales wherever you get your podcasts. We love you, tippers. We appreciate you. And until next week, peace.
And thanks for all the messages on Instagram.
Yes.
We love you guys. We saw your support and we appreciate you. So continue to help us out.
All right. Thanks, guys. See ya. Bye.